caller called in and said, what are Ron's thoughts about cremation? It used to be a pagan practice, so does that mean we shouldn't do it?
Well, it is one of those things that's been controversial in the church, because there are some Christians who have said that because the pagans did it, that you and I should never do it, because you won't get resurrected from the dead. Once you get turned into dust from cremation, that has implications for your future life. Well, let me just say this, and this will kind of add balance to the discussion. First of all, we all turn to dust after we die, and I know that's not a pleasant thing for us to talk about on the radio, but the truth is that after a certain amount of time passes, we do go back to the dust. It's dust to dust. We were created from dust, and to dust we return once we die. So whether that takes place over time or through cremation, neither scenario is going to prevent God from resurrecting you from the dead. And I would encourage anybody that's interested in it to read 1 Corinthians 15, which is a glorious passage that talks about the resurrection. And also 2 Corinthians 5. That's another good one. It talks about how like our present bodies are like earthly tents that can easily be knocked down, but our resurrection body is going to be like a building, sturdy and strong and impossible to knock down. And so, in terms of actual practice, the pagans did do it in biblical times, but as well, Saul's body was actually cremated by the people of God in order to prevent the invading pagans from violating Saul's dead body. So there you have a case where you had God's people actually engaging in the practice. By and large, burial is not only the biblical practice, but it's also the practice of the early church fathers. You don't see cremation in the early church fathers. But again, there's not a thing in Scripture that indicates in any way that God is going to have some kind of problem resurrecting you from the dead, because He's the creator. He's the one that created you in the first place from the dust of the ground. And, at that moment, at that trumpet call, you're going to just resurrect from the dead. And if you're in heaven with the Lord, if your spirit is in heaven, your spirit's going to be reunited with that glorious body. And as you know, Susie, I often call that a body upgrade, because it's going to be a body that doesn't die, it doesn't have pain, it doesn't grow old, it doesn't get diseased. And we can even eat in that body. It's like Scripture says, Christ ate 4 times in His resurrection body. And we read about we read about eating fruit, for example, in heaven. And so I think that it's going to be fantastic beyond the imagination of what any of us can imagine.
Exciting, huh?